Hello guys, and welcome back to the channel. R. Kelly was recently attacked by a fellow inmate named Jeremiah Farmer, and Jeremiah claims that the government made him do it. He said he wanted to shed light on government corruption, and he attacked R. Kelly because he was angry that the facility they were housed in is being placed on lockdown a few times, largely due to R. Kelly's protesters outside the jail. An incident report that was filed by Farmer says that he allegedly attacked R. Kelly around 9:45 a.m. on August 26 and repeatedly punched R. Kelly in the head and torso. A prison employee came in using pepper spray to end the assault, and it ended as fast as it began. The U.S. Attorney's Office for the Northern District of Indiana says that Farmer is a gang member with the Latin Kings, and he was convicted last year after a jury found he beat two men to death with a hammer as part of a racketeering conspiracy. Then on top of that, R. Kelly has three associates that has been accused of using arson and bribery to silence witnesses. Prosecutors say one defendant set a car on fire outside of a house of a woman who publicly accused the singer of abuse. For more than a year, the singer has been awaiting trial on federal sex abuse charges, facing the prospect of watching his accusers and former sexual partners testify against him. On June 11th, one of those potential witnesses in Florida woke up to find the car in her driveway in flames. Prosecutors in Brooklyn said the burning of the car was intentional as they announced the arrest of three suspects: Donnell Russell, Michael Williams, and Richard R. Jr. All three were accused of trying to intimidate and bribe R. Kelly's accusers. And law enforcement have long suspected R. Kelly of interfering in criminal investigations. He was famously acquitted in 2008 on child pornography charges after a key witness declined to testify, and federal prosecutors in Chicago charged him last year with conspiracy to intimidate witnesses and conceal evidence before that 2008 trial. Now, to me, it seems like he's just used to buying his way out of problems. Now, not only did his associates set the car on fire of one of the victims, another woman who filed a lawsuit against him in 2018 was also threatened, and she was threatened with public release of sexual explicit photographs of her that she had previously sent to R. Kelly. Now, Donnell Russell and Richard R. Jr., they are friends of R. Kelly, while Michael Williams is a relative of a former publicist for R. Kelly. Now, one of the attorneys for R. Kelly is simply saying, R. Kelly had nothing to do with these alleged acts of these people. You're just going to have associates go out and bribe people and threaten people for you, and they're not getting anything out of it, and you don't know anything about it? Yeah, right. Okay, that's what they're saying. But anyway, R. Kelly, who has been in custody in a jail in Chicago since the arrest last summer, he faces federal charges related to sexual abuse of minors in two separate cases, one in Chicago and one in Brooklyn. The indictment in Brooklyn accuses R. Kelly of leading a decade-long operation to illegally exploit women and girls for his own sexual gratification. R. Kelly faces 9 criminal counts, including racketeering, a charge that has been commonly used against mob bosses, but they're charging him with that as well. Now, his 3 associates have been arrested. Mr. R. was arrested in Illinois and was released on $10,000 bond. Mr. Williams was arrested in Florida and remains in custody, and Mr. Russell was arrested in California and is expected to have an initial hearing by phone. I'm not sure if he did that already. But after the car was set afire, investigators obtained a search warrant for records of anyone who had used Google to search for the woman's address close to the time of the incident. The reports led to Mr. Williams, a family member of his former publicist. Hours before the arson, cell phone location data showed that Mr. Williams had driven from his home in Valdosta, Georgia, to an address in Kissimmee, Florida, where the car was burned. A search of Mr. Williams' Google accounts found that he had visited several websites about women who have made allegations against R. Kelly. And days before the arson, he searched for countries that don't have extradition to the United States and also case law for tampering with a witness. And in a separate scheme, Mr. Russell is accused of threatening a different woman who has sued R. Kelly in 2018. Using an alias, he sent her text messages with sexually explicit photographs of her, threatening to publish them if she did not withdraw her lawsuit. Now, what do you guys think about this? The lawyers have sought to discredit the accusers, questioning their memories and calling them disgruntled groupies. Here's my opinion. Reports show a pattern of him paying people to do his dirty work. He has always been trying to find ways to get out of jail. Is this one of them? I mean, why would three associates threaten and bribe accusers on their own accord, and he claims to have no knowledge? I'm going to say because he's paying them. This is what they're doing. They're doing what he asked them to do because they're being paid. And then you have a guy that has already been convicted of murdering two people with a hammer come into your cell to hurt you, and he just tussles with you. He could have had a shank. He could have stabbed him. He could have burned him. He could have really caused harm to R. Kelly if he really wanted to. That's why I think it's all a setup. I think R. Kelly arranged all of this, the tampering that he's doing. He's continuing to do. What do you guys think? Let me know what you think down in the comments, and let's talk about it. Thank you guys so much for watching.